It started as a secret I thought I could keep forever. A hidden part of my life, neatly tucked away in the corners of my mind, where I thought it could never be discovered. But secrets have a way of creeping into the light, and mine was no different. What makes it worse? This isn't a story about an affair with someone outside my marriage. It's about the secret relationship I have with my own husband. Yes, you heard that right, a relationship so hidden, even my husband doesn't know about it. My husband, James, and I have been married for 8 years. On the surface, we're the picture of stability, two people who love each other, who have built a life together filled with shared dreams and plans for the future. But what no one sees is the distance that's grown between us over the years. It wasn't a sudden break, it was gradual, like the tide pulling away from the shore. Life happened. Careers, bills, responsibilities, and somewhere along the way, we lost each other. The idea of having a secret relationship with James started as an experiment, born out of desperation. I wanted to rekindle the spark we'd lost, to bring back the man who used to look at me like I was his entire world. But I knew that confronting him directly wouldn't work. We'd tried that before, long talks that ended in frustration, promises to try harder that never materialized. I needed a different approach. So, I became someone else. I created a new email account, using a pseudonym. I reached out to James anonymously, posing as a stranger who had stumbled upon his profile through a mutual acquaintance. I crafted my words carefully, balancing intrigue and playfulness, drawing him in without revealing my true identity. To my surprise, he responded. At first, our conversations were light, harmless. He seemed intrigued by this mysterious woman who had reached out to him out of the blue. We exchanged jokes, shared stories, and as the days turned into weeks, our messages grew deeper. He began to open up to me in ways he hadn't in years. He told me about the pressures at work, his fears about the future, and, to my heartbreak, his feelings of loneliness in our marriage. Hearing those words from him, even through the veil of my pseudonym, was like a knife to the chest. I wanted to scream, "It's me. I'm right here. You don't have to feel lonely because I'm still here, loving you, wanting you." But I couldn't. Not yet. I needed to see where this would go. Our secret correspondence became the highlight of my days. I found myself looking forward to his messages, to the way he made me laugh, to the vulnerability he shared with this stranger. It was exhilarating and heartbreaking all at once. I was falling in love with my husband all over again, but I couldn't shake the guilt of deceiving him. Then came the night that changed everything. James asked if we could meet in person. He said he felt a connection with this stranger that he hadn't felt in years and wanted to see where it could lead. My heart sank. This was the moment I'd been dreading. If I told him the truth, would he feel betrayed? Would he be angry that I'd resorted to such extremes to reach him? Or would he see it for what it was, a desperate attempt to save our marriage? I agreed to meet him, choosing a quiet cafe on the edge of town. I arrived early, my hands trembling as I clutched the coffee cup in front of me. When James walked in, my breath caught. He looked around, searching for the woman he thought he was meeting. When his eyes landed on me, confusion flickered across his face, followed by realization. "You?" he said, his voice a mix of shock and disbelief. "It's me," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "I'm the one you've been talking to." The silence that followed was unbearable. James sat down, his expression unreadable. "Why?" he finally asked. "Why would you do this?" I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. "Because I didn't know how else to reach you. We've been drifting apart for so long, and I felt like I'd lost you. I needed to find a way to connect with you again, to remind you of the love we used to share." James looked away, his jaw tight. "Do you know how this makes me feel? Like I've been tricked. Manipulated." "I know," I said, tears welling in my eyes. "And I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I just wanted to save us." For a long time, neither of us spoke. The cafe buzzed around us, oblivious to the storm brewing at our table. Finally, James sighed. "I don't know how to feel about this," he admitted. "Part of me is angry, but another part of me." He trailed off, his gaze softening. "Another part of me is grateful. Because for the first time in years, I felt like someone saw me. Really saw me." His words cracked something open inside me. "That's all I wanted," I said. "For you to feel seen, to feel loved. Because I never stopped loving you, James. Not for a second." In the weeks that followed, our marriage underwent a transformation. The honesty that had been absent for so long began to seep back in. We started talking, really talking, about our fears, our desires, and the pain we'd both been carrying. It wasn't easy. There were days when the weight of what I'd done threatened to crush us. But we kept fighting, kept choosing each other. Looking back, I know what I did was risky, even reckless. But I also know it saved our marriage. Sometimes, the hardest truths are the ones that set you free. And for us, that truth was realizing that even in the darkest moments, love can find a way to shine through, if you're willing to fight for it. But the story doesn't end there. What I hadn't realized during this secret chapter of my life was that James had been keeping secrets of his own. Just as I had created a persona to reach him, James had been burying parts of himself he thought I wouldn't want to see. One evening, as we sat together on the couch, James hesitated before speaking. "There's something I need to tell you," he said. My stomach flipped. After everything, I wasn't sure I was ready for more revelations. "What is it?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He took a deep breath. "All those messages, all the things I shared with your alter ego. They weren't just about work or us. They were about me. Things I've never been able to say out loud. Fears I've carried for years. I've always felt this pressure to be perfect for you, for us. But inside, I've been struggling." Hearing him say those words was like a mirror reflecting back all the ways I'd failed to see him, to truly understand the man I married. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked softly. "Because I was scared," he admitted. "Scared of disappointing you. Scared of being vulnerable. It was easier to hide it, to put on a mask and pretend everything was fine." His honesty hit me like a tidal wave. For so long, I'd been focused on my own pain, my own loneliness, that I'd failed to see his. This secret relationship I'd created wasn't just about saving our marriage, it was about rediscovering the parts of ourselves we'd both buried. From that moment on, we made a pact. No more secrets. No more hiding. If we were going to rebuild our marriage, it had to be on a foundation of honesty, no matter how difficult or uncomfortable it might be. And so, we began the hard work of unearthing everything we'd kept buried, piece by piece. Some days were harder than others. There were tears, arguments, moments when it felt like we'd never fully heal. But there were also moments of profound connection. Of rediscovering why we fell in love in the first place. Slowly, the walls between us began to crumble, and in their place, we built something stronger. Looking back, I realized that the secret relationship I created with James wasn't just about reaching him, it was about reaching myself. It forced me to confront my own fears, my own flaws, and to find the courage to fight for the love I almost lost. And for that, I'll always be grateful.